Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to talk about stupidity. I would have loved to talk about stupidity in Africa, but I'd like to focus on describing and analyzing the type of stupidity that we have in Nigeria. Now, Nigeria actually would have grown beyond where it is. We would have grown beyond the level of the stupidity that we have. But when I say there's stupidity in Nigeria, please, no section of the country should think that, no, this stupidity does not concern us, because what we simply have is different types of stupidity. The North is engulfed with stupidity of illiteracy, whereas the South is engulfed with stupidity of pulling down, trying to pull down the other, trying to outdo the other or try to outsmart the other. That is the type of stupidity that we have in the South that is undoing us and will continue to undo us if we do not change our ways. Recently, yesterday, I saw a video of the Edo State government receiving medical supplies from China. And I was forced to ask myself, is it that the people of Edo are not seeing what is going on in Nigeria or what is going on in the world? Now, I also asked myself this question. I said, the whole world is on lockdown. The airplanes, the airports are not functional. How is China moving around the world, visiting different African countries and offering them medical palliatives? China cannot go to America, cannot go to Spain, cannot go to Italy, cannot go to anywhere else in the world except Africa. Now, here is my thinking. China has indeed infected the whole world, and while the world is busy battling the virus that China has unleashed on the world, China is seizing the opportunity to capture grounds in Africa. And because Africa has spent several years borrowing from China, they don't have the will or moral ground to reject the Greek gift or the Trojan horse that the Chinese are bringing into Africa and Nigeria in particular. Now, it is amazing to see that in Nigeria, our level of stupidity has gone beyond what we can ordinarily describe as easy. Yesterday, I made a video and I was saying so many things about the coronavirus, about the poor handling of the state of coronavirus in Nigeria vis-a-vis the northern people that are heading the affairs of Nigeria today. Now, let me speak to the northern government or the northerners or the core northerners or the caliphate or the cabals, whichever name you use to want to describe them, I'm referring to you. Now, do not get it wrong that when the Europeans come in and they meet and they go to meet the core northerners, the cabal, the caliphate, or when Chinese come and they want to operate in Nigeria, they go through the caliphate. They are not meeting the caliphate because the caliphate has better understanding of politics or better understanding of leadership or better understanding of development. They've sourced out and studied Nigeria, and they felt that the most foolish people that can be deceived are the core northerners. Now, like I said in the video of yesterday, one is not sure if the arrangement that Chinese or China has with the ruling core north is to say that, okay, we will not inject these vaccines to your people, but we will inject it in the south, reduce their population, and therefore you will have them better in your control than you already have. I'm sure if there's a plan like that given to them, they will accept. Now, when I saw the video yesterday, because it was a video and videos don't lie, although these days with the advent of Photoshop, pictures can actually lie, but videos don't lie. I saw the video, I saw the banner behind Edo government and China, and I saw the cartons of different medical supply given to the Edo state government. So one is wondering, right now it has been established that there is no vaccine anywhere in the world. There is competition to develop the first vaccine across different labs in different parts of the country, but there is no single declaration of a successful vaccine for this coronavirus. Why is China, who has not yet finished battling with the coronavirus in its country, going about Africa seeking to help Africans? It is everywhere in every video where Chinese are harassing and molesting Africans, treating Africans as dirt, treating Africans as animals. Yet we are busy welcoming the same Chinese that are treating your brothers as dirt in their own country. We are welcoming them in our shores with a beaming smile. That to me is a different type of stupidity. Now, when we say the Chinese are coming to the north to offer them some sort of arrangement to enable them bring their medical supplies in Africa, one is wondering, what exactly are you thinking? It is not up to a week that China declared it has successfully put the corona pandemic in its country in check, and yet suddenly they've become the one that is supplying the world face masks, supplying the world with all medical equipment. Is it not safe to conclude that China deliberately to infected the world so that they can be the one that is supplying all the medical gifts or all the medical Trojan horses to different countries that they deem fit to acquire for themselves? Now, what I simply think is happening here is this: while America and all other superpowers are busy battling the pandemic, China is using the opportunity to pin down virgin land in Africa. And what is even baffling more is that, how does China perceive Africa? I think China is perceiving Africa as a newfound haven for stupidity. Because even the way when Europe colonized Africa, I don't think Europe saw China as stupid as, I don't think Europe saw Africa as stupid as China is seeing Africa today. To China, we are even far more stupid than when Europe came to Africa and saw Africans as stupid. Because how can any administration be living on borrowing? I can tell you for sure that our national reserve has been depleted. And for the next 3 years that this administration is going to be in existence, the only policy it has, the only strategy of making funds is to borrow. And if, as a Southerner, if you think that the borrowing of the northern administration that we have today in Nigeria does not affect you, you are lying. Because every single borrowing that you are borrowing is tied to the wealth of the South. Let me repeat that again in case you don't get it. Every single borrowing that the Northern Caliphate in charge of Nigeria today is borrowing is tied to the wealth of the South. So if today you say you are breaking up, we are going away, let me tell you, China will not go to the north to look for its debt. China will go to the south to collect its debt. Take it or leave it, that is the reality on the ground. And they know it. That is why they feel confident to go. And the northern cabal in government know this fact. That is why they go borrowing in astronomical amounts, so much so that they know that in the event or in the future, if at all there is any breakage or Nigeria ceases to be, it is not the North that will pay back this debt. What does the North have to pay back the huge sums of millions of dollars, billions of dollars that we are borrowing? Is it the desert in the North that they will use to pay, or is it the sand that we have in the desert that they will use to pay? Sorry, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but what I'm trying to say here is that the North has nothing to pay back this debt. Rather, this debt that China is constantly borrowing from, this debt that Nigeria is constantly borrowing from China, will be in the future paid back from the wealth of the South. Which is why sometimes when I see our politicians in the South not fighting vehemently to stop this unnecessary borrowing, and for what is what, when these monies are borrowed, they are not even used to develop the South, where the money will be paid eventually in the future. They are used to develop the North. We have a railway that is connecting Abuja to Kaduna North. We have a program that is intended to connect Warri Refinery to Katsina, a long pipe that to siphon oil from the south straight to Katsina and then to neighboring country. These huge, gigantic projects are being financed with money borrowed from China. And what is the collateral for this loan? Because no country will give you loan if you don't declare the collateral and how money will be paid back. So as a Southerner, you should be very, very worried. You should be very, very worried because the future of your children is being mortgaged to China by the caliphate, so that when Nigeria becomes bad, they have taken enough of what they can take from the South. So we are talking about stupidity. Every Southerner think the North is foolish and stupid. But let me ask you a question. If the North is that stupid, how come people so stupid can be coming into your region, taking your wealth and at will, giving you small part of that wealth, and you bow down and thank them and thank them for having that fraction of wealth that they give to you, and at the end of the day you fight among yourself for that little wealth they give to you? I like to thank the Southeast, the Igbo. I don't like calling them the Southeast. They are not Southeast, they are Igbos. Southeast is bigger than the space covered by the Igbos. We are going to elaborate that more on other videos. But I like to thank the Igbos. So far, it seems like it's the Igbos alone who understands the future of the enormity of the future that we are putting ourselves. And that is why they seek for breakup. Because if we continue at this pace, Nigeria will be mortgaged totally, and in the future there will be nothing to even fight for, because at the end of the day, China would have bought the whole of Nigeria. So when you go crawling on your knees begging for loans from China, what do? These are people that think of nothing except China. They don't have any love for you. When they give you loans, they think about China alone, and yet we take these loans to the North takes this loan to develop the North and to be paid by South. So if you ask me, I think the bigger fools here are the Southerners and not the Northerners. When China comes to meet the North, and for whatever arrangement that they have, they are not meeting you Northerners because you have better sense or wisdom in managing resources. They are meeting you because you are the most gullible among the races in Nigeria. You are the ones that is so filled with hate, that is so filled with manipulation, that is so filled with cheating, that is so filled with looting, that is so filled with corruption, that is so filled with anything that is not developmental. You are filled with it, and therefore they meet you. Because to you, Kabas, you are feeling like a semi-colonialist. People who are also colonizing the rest of Nigeria, which is why you fill your head with this born to rule mentality, just to give you a false sense of colonialism. But I'd like to tell you something. The only reason why you, the core North, are having this field day is because of our lack of coming together. But I can assure you that we are doing just that. We are beginning to understand our differences, and we are beginning to build ways that can bring all Southerners together. That's the Igbos, the Edos, even the Yorubas. We are beginning to understand why there is a need for us to come back. And I can assure you that your days are numbered. Your days of treating Nigeria as your own, your days are over. When we begin to get ourselves together, we can tell you that we will dictate how we should coexist. And when we say we are living, it will not be in your place to determine whether we will live or not to live. The reason why you think that living Nigeria is difficult is because we are not playing the game right. But very soon, I assure you that we will get the mathematics of how to live Nigeria is possible. So to wrap up this video, you Northerners have dragged Nigerians backward. I've said it before in previous videos that whenever you have the opportunity to lead Nigeria, it is never about everybody, it is about the North. And for what is worth, everything you have stolen from the West, from the South, take a good look at the North. How far has the North developed? Nothing. You still have the greatest rate of poverty in the North, the greatest rate of illiteracy, the greatest rate of disease, the greatest rate of everything bad. So when you steal this money, what exactly do you do with it? Marrying many wives, giving birth to so many children, building houses abroad, building houses in Dubai. What exactly are you doing with the North? We that you are stealing from, we are still looking fresher and bigger and more presentable than you guys. So it's unfortunate that Nigeria has become like this. You guys keep crying one Nigeria, one Nigeria, one Nigeria, but yet in your mind you never have love for the rest of people. I schooled in the University of Maiduguri. In my 4 years of schooling in the University of Maiduguri, I never had love from the core North. They constantly see me as a foreigner. As a matter of fact, the only time that we shout one Nigeria is when the Super Eagles are playing a national match and there's a goal scored, and we all pump our hands in the air and we say goal. And in that split second, that's the only time I feel that we are Nigerians. After that, we go back to being Arne and Kafiri and hatred and whatever. So we cannot be one Nigeria with people who show constant hate for their fellow citizens. We cannot be one Nigeria with people who constantly feel a need and desire to kill their fellow citizens. We cannot be one Nigeria with people who constantly feel a need to steal from the South and bring to the North. We cannot be one Nigeria with people who constantly feel a need to always put their people first before the rest of Nigerians. We cannot be one Nigeria with people who have refused to develop in terms of mental capacity and personal capacity. We cannot be with a people who refuse to be inventive. We cannot be with people who put religion first above everything. We cannot be with people who believe that success in life is how many times you pray in the mosque and how well you are regarded as a Muslim. We cannot be with people who constantly tell lies. We cannot be with people who have no human sympathy whatsoever for their fellow citizens. We cannot be with people who will not consider me as one of them, but insist I must be in the same geographical space with them. So the lies that governs the unity of Nigeria, sorry, let me never use that word unity. The lies that governs the establishment of Nigeria, I think, has outlived its usefulness to the core North. The hard truth of the need for Nigeria to come ground and address the hard truth of whether we can be one or not is right here in front of us. It is better we come together and ask this question and discuss it peacefully, or we discuss it non-peacefully. Either way, we must address these questions one day. Thank you very much.